Capitalism is broken, the world's on fire, the rich people just keep on getting richer, and someone sold me something that didn't work as expected. So my roommate bought me this automatic soap dispenser for our kitchen, and it didn't work. At this point, my roommate said, "Josh, go fix it. You're the only one who can." Thank you so much. I know, I'm just so brilliant. Anyway, let's see if I can save this from my trash can. So my first shot in the dark is to just open it up and see what I find. The problem is it's all plastic, which means there's no real good way to try and take it apart. I'm just gonna go off the screws until I find something. And maybe I'll find something wrong. And that's the wrong type of screwdriver. That is the kind for taking apart iPhones. I want this guy. Oh, forgot to take out the batteries. Well, I guess safety first, right kids? Okay, I'm trying to take this apart and I can take that screw out, but I can't take that one out because it's stripped. Now, this is brand new, but it's already stripped because they use cheap metal, and so I took a nice screwdriver and just destroyed it. So the only solution is to drill that mother out. Now for the dangerous part. So I finally got this damn thing open, and I noticed that there's this tube in here that connects the reservoir to the main spout. Only when I first opened it, it was full of this crusted, old, gross soap, and then it hit me. The reason this was discounted was because someone else had bought it, used it, didn't like it for whatever reason, and then they returned it to the store, and no one had bothered to clean this out, so that the soap just kind of just dried in there, and so that when I finally got it, the soap couldn't pass through the pipe because it was just full of dried old soap, which is really gross when you just think about it for a second. So then why was this a return thing? Well, when people buy things and then they return it, one of two things happen. If it's online, it usually just gets thrown out. In this case, because it was bought in a store, they just put it back on the shelf without actually looking at it and just lowered the price, which was great for my roommate who actually bought this because he didn't want to pay full price. However, that didn't work, and no one actually solved the issue. Now that I knew that there was dried soap in it, I very carefully took this whole thing apart and cleaned it out and then put it back together without breaking anything in the process, which, oh my god, I don't know how I did that. And then I gave it to my roommates, and it worked. For one day. So inside this thing, there's a tub full of soap. There's a tube that connects the tub to the rest of the world. And then there's a motor that pushes the soap through the tube and out. But it only pushes a little bit, and then the soap can slide down over time. This means I have two solutions. I can either make the motor bigger or the tube shorter. And as someone with experience with electronics, I obviously went with the mechanical solution. Then I decided that this case was actually the problem because of how it held the component. So I got rid of it, and then I started to figure out how could I move the spout lower down to make the pipe shorter. So I went into CAD, designed a new housing system so that the pipe was as short as possible. Then I 3D printed that case. And I finally get to put all this shit together. So I didn't really know where to put all the electronics, so I just kind of threw it on top of the tube now that it's shorter. Oh yeah, there's also a lot of electronics which you need to have for the motor and the sensor and all for all this other shit. Which is great and all, but like, is it really necessary? Like, clearly I forgot about the button. So we're just gonna pretend that cover actually goes all the way up. I forgot to film the real one that I definitely printed after that. And here it is. So the next day it fell into the sink and immediately broke. So, all of this was for nothing. If the soap dispenser had worked better, then it wouldn't have been returned. And if it was easier to fix, I wouldn't have had to create a whole new case, which then caused it to be out of balance, which caused it to fall into the sink, which is why it broke ultimately. But anyway, after all this, I still had to go and buy a new soap dispenser. And they have this really nice one where you just pick it up and squeeze it, and soap just boop, comes out, which is just as good as this old one, but there's no motors or electronics or tubes. It's just a better designed thing. And if I had to buy something anyways, might as well go with the better designed thing. But either way, they're both gonna end up in the trash, so I might as well go with the one that has less waste associated with it. This guy had all these motors and circuit boards and batteries that are just gonna be toxic. Now this guy still has plastic in it, but it's less of it. So of the two evils, this is, I guess, less evil? So in summation, if you're gonna throw something out, might as well try and fix it at the very least. If you're gonna buy something new, go with something that's repairable, even if it costs a bit more, and then maybe you can fix it in the future. And it'll also tell companies they should invest in making products that can be fixed. And if you can't do that, go with a simpler product, because at the very least, it might be able to give you the same benefit with just less waste in the dump. But if we all come together, I truly believe that we can make some well-designed products that are also repairable, but you'll still be killing the planet.